Basketball fans, welcome back. The Kenya Morans win this game against Guinea 80-74. Let's just talk about this. So, in the beginning, even prior to this game, I was just looking at it. I was just looking at the tail of the tape, just looking at the stats, comparing. And I just saw this was a game that we had a legit shot of winning. I know I made a couple of videos way back, about 4 months ago, just talking about these matchups, Tunisia, Angola, and Guinea. And I said Guinea, for some reason, is the game that we might pull off a win, and we can go ahead and take a win from them, because that win against Tunisia and Angola would have proven quite difficult, and they did prove quite difficult. But this one was different, as we won this game 80-74, and the way we started the game was just very good. We started off very strong, energetic. We were going to our shots. In the first quarter, we scored 24 points, which was actually good. Then in the second quarter, you could see the scoring just kept on. We just kept on scoring. We had 25 at the second quarter, and we had that shot that Bosire hit at the end to finish off. And at that time, we were just up huge. Then heading into the second half, the third and fourth, I kind of feel like we kind of slipped up a bit. We kind of slipped away, because majority of the time when I've seen Kenya Morans games, we are always trying to cut the lead, but we have never had a situation where we are playing with a lead. So I saw a lot of confusion, especially when it came to our offense. Even I saw a timeout where Coach Cliff was trying to tell guys to relax. This time I was watching the game, I was like, relax. We got this. You just need to go through the motions, play some defense. If it's a stop you're going to get, we can just go ahead and score it. Just play good defense, take the best shot, go to either Derek, Albert. We could do that. Also, Eugene can also go to him so I can get some instant offense. So those are the things that that's one thing that I saw, because we're not used to playing with a lead, and at some point Guinea was just cutting into that lead. At some point it just changed and it became a clutch game. But late game heroics, especially coming from Kenyan Airways, Albert Odero, really helped. But you could see there was this point where in the game when we were starting, Albert Odero didn't have the rock, and the other guy that came in and he showed up very huge was Derek Ugechi, and he has shown that he can be a reliable option. I know yesterday's game and the day before didn't have the best outing, but if you look at the way he was approaching the game, he was going into his shots, taking his rhythm shots. I know the defense that he was being set up by Angola and Tunisia was actually quite different, because both those two teams are elite. I know Angola, their squad was different, but you could see the type of defense they were running. But Guinea, I feel like they didn't have like that strong defense like that, and we were able to get away with it on multiple occasions. So Derek Ogechi was able to, even at the half, he finished off with 15 points. I actually thought that if this man didn't foul out like early and get into foul trouble, because this guy had 4 personal fouls. So if he was able to just take care of the basketball and not foul a lot, there was a likelihood that this guy would have even scored about 30, because late in the game we didn't see a lot of Derek Ogechi at the time because of fouling. We didn't want to risk him fouling out like the way Fade fouled out. So there's that. Then at the half, I remember we had a couple of interesting things. So Victor Bosire, this is a guy that picked up like 2 personal fouls early in the game, which it was a huge head scratcher. Sometimes I asked myself, like, what is this guy doing? I know there's this whole intention of like playing hard and trying to play some good defense, but damn, you just can't go ahead and you just can't go ahead and play and foul like that, because it will really hurt your minutes. But this guy was playing on 4 fouls, and he only hit 2 of his threes. Those are the only field goals that he made. And they are actually quite significant. One was ending the first half, the second quarter, at the buzzer. Then there's this one he hit late in the fourth that put us up huge, and it was the difference as we were able to stifle the comeback that the Guinea side were bringing. So that was actually a good thing to see. But looking at the other guys, I mean, I just still feel for Fahim. Fahim didn't even get any minutes. Bramwell didn't get any minutes. Ariel Ortega didn't get any minutes. But if you look at like the whole tempo of the game, you could see that the Coach Cliff was just rolling with the guys that were, they just got going. So there was a point where you just cannot just insert a guy like that in there. So which is understandable. I know coaches make their decisions and list a player like a DNP. So it was okay with me because the win was established and we went to the guys that will have brought us. But man, our front court just we just have issues in the front court because our backcourt guys just did a very good job. I've seen Eugene. Okay, statistically he didn't show out like the best, but those 3 steals were actually quite crucial. He had 6 points on 33% shooting. He was 2 of 6 from the field. He had 3 rebounds and 2 assists. I feel like he would have been a much more reliable option if he was just drawing fouls because he's that guy who has a high free throw percentage. So he's a guy that can be able to like draw fouls and get to the line. So if he went to that, if you had gone to that like majority of the time, there was a high likelihood that the outcomes of the games would have been different. But anyway, his input was enough, and he played 27 minutes, so he was not on like he was not being given like less minutes like that. So that was actually quite good. Then we had Alberto Dero. One thing was interesting was when he started the game, he didn't start off very hot, but you could see there was the other guy, Derek Ogechi, who came in and was just doing his thing. But then there was that situation where he fouled. He had a very like careless foul that sent the other guy from Guinea to the line where he knocked down three free throws at the end of I believe it was the end of the third quarter, because my God, I was looking at Albert, I was like, what is he doing? But in the end of the day, when it mattered in the fourth, Mr. Alberto Dero, Kenyan Airways, came and just saved the day because he was going in there and he was the one that put the team on the back at the end to make sure that we win this game. Because had he not had that performance the way he finished off the game, he didn't start off the best, but the way he finished the game was actually quite strong. And he was going in and he's playing to his strengths. And that's the type of guy that he needed to be all through this tournament, because he is the bona fide number one option. No questions asked. The other guys just need to take a step back. And looking at even our front court guys, I feel like those are the guys that really, I feel like they messed us up a lot. And Desmond O'Whaley, he grabbed out 5 rebounds, but man, those 2 personal fouls and 2 turnovers really were draining. Didn't record a block shot. It's only Joel Iwich who had a block shot. And then a plus minus from -11. I feel like he would benefit more if he understood that he's playing the 5 and understand that he is supposed to at least box out and get those rebounds. But this guy sometimes gets too sloppy. And also Ariel Okal, man, this guy is the definition of sloppy sometimes. I feel like he should understand that he should understand the position that he's playing, and he should understand that the ball, he's supposed to be rebounding the ball and boxing out. So that's one thing that he needs to do. And also, when they from downtown and you're trying to hit the shot, he was supposed to be there to get the rebounds. And majority of the time, he was just getting beat at that one because he only had 8 rebounds. Then we had Fade, who fouled out. He only had 4 rebounds, he had 2 assists, but man, this man was fouling a lot. And Derek Ogechi, if it wasn't his fouling, some of the fouls that he committed, like the 3rd and 4th fouls that I saw, were actually quite careless, and it was just coming from he wanted to drive the ball in, and the ball got out of his hands, and he just did like a pointless foul. I think it was a cheap foul, and it really cost us. It kind of costed us his productivity. Not cost us the game because we won the game, but it costed us his productivity that we will have required and needed down the stretch. So there's that. Then we have Griffin. I know Griffin, he had his moments, but man, one thing I didn't appreciate with Griffin was he checks threes. Like he had 9 3 attempts and only made 1, and I really did not like his unnecessary threes. He should keep the threes to a minimum because I feel like he's not a 3-point shooter. The man should just stick to his role and make sure to go ahead and try to hit mid-range shots and also be a playmaker or facilitator. Grifo being a scorer does not work. There are scorers in the team. We already know who the scorers are. It's Alberto Dero, Kenyan Airways is a scorer, Eugene Adera is a scorer, Derek Ogechi is a scorer. That's a bona fide scorer. And also Fahim Juma is also a scorer, but we didn't get to see him that much because as the game just continued to progress, we just saw a group of guys that stuck with and gave us the win that we got. But my God, Griffin shooting the 3-ball, I did not like that at all. I feel like he should have at least used that and just try to first play make and facilitate and find the open man. He can do it, or at least just do a couple of dribbles and go and find his spots, especially at the mid-range. He's actually quite more efficient at the mid-range, and if he used that opportunity to draw fouls, it would have really helped because the Kenya Morans really have that tendency of taking the other team to the line as much, because we only had 15 free throw attempts in the game. We only made 11 of them. But if you look at the other team, they had out of 25 free throw attempts, they shot 80 of them. So that was one thing that I really, really did not like. And one thing I saw even at the half, our shooting percentage from the field was 50. So that's one thing that I really, really, really appreciated to see the way the team was, and it's all thanks to, offense from Derek Ogechi. He had offense from Joel Awich. Joel Awich actually shot well. He shot 5 of 9, which was 56%. Didn't go to the line, and he finished the game with 12 points. But our leading scorer, of course, Alberto Dero, he shot 50% from the field, and he was 0 for 2 from downtown. And his shot from downtown wasn't clicking the way it was clicking in the first game against Tunisia, but at least his layups and his drives to the rims were the real difference. And one thing I've seen with the Kenya Morans, and I want to even tell a story on what I've seen with this Afrobasket run, which I don't think it's an isolated incident. In the 2020 Afrobasket run that we had, qualifying for the 2021 Afrobasket, in the first window we had to play against Senegal, Angola, and Mozambique. So in the first game against Senegal under Coach Cliff, we lost. The second one against Angola, we lost that second game. So we are coming off 2 back-to-back losses. Then in the third game against Mozambique, that is where we're able to find ourselves, and that's where we're able to win that ball game. So I've seen the same situation repeat itself here. In this situation, the teams are different, but we still have the same thing going on. So we have the game against Tunisia where we lost. You have the game against Angola that we lost. Then the game against Guinea that we won. So the thing that I've seen is this team, even with the new players that are joining into the roster, they start clicking more when they have minutes and they're playing together. I feel like if in training camp they were able to play together, I feel like the outcome against that Angolan game would have been different. In training camp, if these guys just had more minutes together, I feel like the outcome would have been different. So all in all, it was just an entertaining game to watch. And even going into the key stats, I honestly feel the Kenya Morans just did a good job, especially in points in the paint. We made sure to eat inside, and also points from the bench. Our bench production was great, despite not having the services of Fahim, Bramwell, and Ariel Ortega. Still, the other guys were able to help Alberto Dero, Derek Ogechi, and Adera. And I feel like the best number one option of the team right now is Kenyan Airways. He's our guy. And even in the key stats, our turnovers were limited to 10. I feel like we took care of the basketball. But one big curveball that I really wanted to add was I've seen this thing play out time and time again. When the Kenya Morans match up against an elite team, a team that is a powerhouse in the continent, one thing that I've come out and seen was the Kenya Morans really struggle, and their flaws just get very much exposed. They get very much exposed. They're not able to take care of the basketball. They're not able to be as effective as you think they will be. So when that happens, the other team, the elite team, does a very good job at exposing us that much. But when the Kenya Morans match up against, let's say, an average team or a below average team, for some reason, I feel like that's where we shine a lot. Because when we match up against a team like Guinea, we look like we are very good. But when you match up against a team like Angola and Tunisia, the way we started, they made us look so below average. So the big thing is, even I had a theory, even going into the Afrobasket qualifiers in 2021 and the actual Afrobasket, the theory was we only are good when we beat average or below average teams, and we look below average when we match up against elite teams. Because right now, as we speak, Guinea and Kenya are on the same level. When you look at like statistically, we have the same flaws. We have the same, we just look the same, especially when it comes to on-court production. But when you look at a team like Angola and Tunisia, teams that are legit powerhouses, Senegal as well, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, we don't have the ability to even pose any resistance to those teams. So we're not able to pose any resistance to Tunisia. Of course, they're the two-time reigning defending champions in the Afrobasket, so that's acceptable. We were not able to beat an Angolan team that didn't even bring like their A team or their best players. We really, really struggled in that game. Then looking into this game against Guinea, we really looked like we were struggling in there because we didn't know how to play and defend a lead. We almost blew a lead. So what that communicates to me is, despite this win, which is a very good win, because in these tournaments, every win is important and every win counts. But this one does not sweep under the rug the things that I mentioned. I know the powers that be are just going to operate the way they want to operate. They're going to keep whoever they want to keep. And I feel like Coach Cliff has dodged the bullet, because when I saw him win this game, he is celebrating like as if he won the championship. Because he went and hugged he went and hugged I saw he hugged some couple of players, and he went and shook even the official's hand. It's like he had agreed with them for some reason. But anyway, that's just in passing. But all I'm just saying is, it looks like he has dodged a bullet here, but the fact still remains, he's not the guy for the job, and he's not a guy that you can consistently rely on. And this one win is the one that they're going to blow out of proportion. I've seen a lot of people talk about, we won this game. And why aren't you talking? Why aren't you making a video about this? I'm like, Guinea is an average / below average team. And looking at the fact that they are coming off like a few hours from matching up against Tunisia yesterday night, you can't come out and say that just because we beat Guinea, we are back up. Nah, there's levels to this. If we beat Tunisia, that's a different story. But we didn't beat Tunisia. We actually got blown out back to back. This one win does not erase the loss against Tunisia, does not erase the loss against Angola, which were two embarrassing losses. This win against Guinea, we beat just a below average team that was coming off a few hours from matching up against Tunisia. So as much as this win is very important for the tournament, it should not be blown out of proportion, because we only know how to beat, average teams. That's it. We can't beat a powerhouse team. I don't think we have what it takes to beat an Angolan team. Based on what we saw yesterday, we can't. Even with the next window being 12 months away, we still won't be able to do that. We still won't be able to upset them the way we upset them. Because if you remember, that Tyler Ongwae shot happened 3 years ago. So that's a very long time. So anybody who wants to overinflate this win and act as if we have won the championship, you're wrong. And honestly, this is actually a very good win. In FIBA, in this FIBA contest, you have to win every single game that comes to you, but people should not blow this win out of proportion. Guinea is a below average team, and we didn't look dominant. We didn't look that dominant in there. Despite the win, we only won by 6 points. The total domination was Kenya versus Angola yesterday. We got beat by 30 points. Now that's total domination. Total domination is being dominated by Tunisia, the way we lost by north of 25 points. So all I'm just saying is there's levels to this. You just cannot say that just because we won this game, it puts us right above. It puts us right, or it puts us back in the Afrobasket race, but it doesn't make us elite, because it's like it's like it's like beating somebody who is weaker than you. Okay, Guinea, we know they're weak because even in the post-game presser, they came out and said, they played back-to-back games, that they were tired. They got spent, especially in the match up against Tunisia, who posed a lot of resistance to them. So there was that, fatigue in there. So even with us beating Guinea, it doesn't mean that we are still back. We're still good in, we're in that level where we are elite. We are not elite. Given like the fact that we still have legacy players on the team, we're still not elite. We're just the same players. We just won the game. That's it. Any team can win any team can win any game. So the game can go either way. So, and considering the fact that Guinea were coming from 2 back-to-back losses, they were not dominant against Tunisia. They were not dominant against Angola, and Angola they matched up with them 2 days ago. So these are 2 losers who are playing to win their first game. So people have a tendency of removing that a bit of context. So it's very important. Guinea and Kenya were in the same boat. We were losers coming off 2 straight losses brutally from Tunisia, at the hands of Tunisia and Angola. So we're trying to grab their first win, and Kenya was there. So if this game would have gone either way, we will still see, like, it will be that one of us both. But anyway, it is what it is. So I just wanted to add context to that. I'm going to come out with player ratings talking about these players. So stay tuned to that. I believe we've covered a lot, and I'll also just chat the way forward, because right now we are seeing the Libya versus Ugandan game. Uganda have been balling out. They beat Nigeria, which was actually quite awesome. Then I'm just waiting to see the last game of the day. This is Cote d'Ivoire versus Egypt, and also Tunisia versus Angola is just going to be fire. So stay tuned to that. So if you guys like the video, make sure to leave your feedback down in the comments, what you think about this whole situation. And I'm out. Peace.